Hey guys, JD here, and this is part 2 of the ultimate comparison between the Yamaha FX SVHO WaveRunner and the Kawasaki Ultra 310 jet ski. I purchased both these skis brand new off the showroom floor. These were not sent to me by one of the manufacturers. I maintain, service, repair, and upgrade these skis completely on my own. They had never been to an outside mechanic or dealer other than the day they came off the showroom floor. So I'm going to provide you with the ultimate perspective on not only what it means to ride these machines, but what it means to maintain them and service them. So from the engine to the jet pump and everything in between, I'm going to go over how these skis are similar and what makes them different. We're going to cover some detailed technical aspects of these skis not covered anywhere else on YouTube. So grab your popcorn and let's go. In part 1 of this video, I go over the deck and hull, jet pump, engine and supercharger, and electrical system. So make sure to check out part 1 if you haven't already. Despite what some manufacturers may claim, reversing and deceleration systems are not substitutes for keen situational awareness. Both the Yamaha FX SVHO and Kawasaki Ultra 310 jet ski feature electronic reversing and deceleration systems designed to assist with maneuvering in tight spaces and decelerating the watercraft. These systems are not designed to be used as a quote-unquote brake. Both the Yamaha and Kawasaki feature electronic reversing systems. However, they accomplish this quite differently. On the Yamaha, the reverse trigger is located on the left of the handlebar. It's an exact mirror of the throttle trigger, but operates the personal watercraft in reverse only. RIDE stands for Reverse with Intuitive Deceleration Electronics, and this trigger is activated using your left hand. The Kawasaki Ultra 310 features KSRD, or Kawasaki Smart Reverse with Deceleration. The KSRD trigger is actuated using your thumb and is actually attached to the main throttle trigger. So as you can see right on the screen, we have a shift indicator. That tells you if you're in forward, neutral, or reverse. So let's put our jet ski into neutral. You're gonna go like this. There's the KSRD actuator. One tap. As you can see, that puts us into neutral. Now, if you want to go in reverse, all you do is hold this. But let's say that you need a little more thrust in reverse. So what you're going to do is, using these right here, hold reverse and then throttle up. The main benefit of the KSRD system is that it only requires one hand to operate. It also allows the user to select multiple levels of thrust when traveling in reverse. Some people complain that the KSRD has a slow reaction time. However, my initial testing reveals that the Yamaha and Kawasaki engage in reverse at about the same speed. But there is a key difference between these systems that I'm going to discuss now. For the Kawasaki Ultra 310, the trim and reverse are both controlled with this box here. Inside the box are two actuators. These are actually very similar to automotive-style window motors. These control cables, which push or pull the reverse bucket up and down. The reverse bucket itself is mounted on two stanchions that are integrated onto the ride plate. Out of the three big manufacturers, Kawasaki was last to introduce electronic reverse, and because of that, their KSRD system is in its first generation, meaning the system is kinda glitchy. Sometimes, for no reason at all, the KSRD system will throw errors, putting it into a limp mode and requiring you to reset the jet ski's power in order to clear the error. Unlike Kawasaki's relatively new system, Yamaha RIDE has been in production for more than 10 years as of this video, and therefore the system is extremely reliable without any known glitches. With the RIDE system, you squeeze the left trigger to go in reverse. When the trigger is released, the ski automatically returns to neutral. When you squeeze the right trigger, the ski goes into forward. The Yamaha also features TDE, or Thrust Directional Enhancement, that gives you finer low-speed control by slightly redirecting the jet thrust, which makes docking, launching, and tight maneuvering easier. When it comes to the reverse bucket itself, the bucket is mounted to the jet pump, not to the ride plate. However, the mounts for the bucket are made of plastic, which was a little bit concerning to me, although there haven't been any reported issues with these plastic mounts. Rather than relying on a remotely mounted actuator and control cables like the Kawasaki, The Yamaha actuator for the ride system is mounted right in the pump tunnel next to the reverse bucket. The Yamaha also features a heavy-duty return spring. A spring just like this was added to the Kawasaki's in 2024, although initial models in 2022 did not have this actuator spring. When compared side to side, I believe that the Yamaha ride system is more efficient than the Kawasaki KSRD. This is because the Yamaha system relies on an actuator and arm rather than a remote-mounted control box and cable. However, for the 2024 and up models, Kawasaki has improved the response time of the KSRD by adding a high-tension spring. The buckets themselves are very similar. The major difference is the Kawasaki bucket is mounted directly to the ride plate. This means that if you change the ride plate or remove it, the bucket comes with it. For the Yamaha, the bucket is mounted directly to the jet pump using these plastic stanchions. I don't like that they're plastic, but again, haven't heard any widespread reports of these having issues. With the Yamaha, you have to use your left hand to squeeze the reverse trigger. This means that that hand is not free for maneuvering around the dock and grabbing lines. On the Kawasaki, only a single hand is needed to operate either forward or reverse, giving you a free hand at all times to grab ropes and help dock the personal watercraft. In conclusion, the Yamaha FX SVHO ride system has been in production for nearly 10 years and has no known glitches at the moment. It has a dedicated throttle trigger, although you must use your left hand to actuate it. Instead of a remote-mounted actuator box and cables, this uses an actuator arm, which gives it a very fast response. With the Yamaha, you have one thrust level in reverse. This is not considered to be a brake. KSRD, or Kawasaki Smart Reverse and Deceleration, relies on a thumb trigger mounted on the back side of the throttle trigger to actuate reverse. The reverse system is cable operated with a remotely mounted actuator box. Earlier models have a slower response, although the addition of the tension spring in 2024 has put this response on par with the Yamaha. At times, the KSRD system can be glitchy, throwing errors to the end user and failing to operate as intended. When functioning correctly, users can modulate reverse thrust using the trim buttons on the left handlebar. The KSRD system is not considered to be a brake. The multi-function display and gauge cluster is your window into the workings of your personal watercraft. Both the Yamaha and Kawasaki both feature full-color 7-inch displays, but the similarities end there. On the Yamaha FX SVHO, the display is controlled by both touchscreen and by this convenient D-pad. The Yamaha features a high-resolution 7-inch display, which is bright, clear, and easy to read, even under direct sunlight. First, let's talk about drive control. Under drive control, you can select economy, performance, tow, or comfort modes. These modes offer various predefined programs that modulate trim, acceleration, and speed based on rider preference. Personally, I like to have these modes off because I've found that the trim is adjusted in ways I don't necessarily like. So now let's look at the gauge theme selector. For 2025, Yamaha now offers a range of customizable gauges for the FX. You can choose between modern, sport, or classic, and each is available in an analog, digital, or hybrid format. Although I'd like to point out that the gauge cluster is extremely basic. You have your voltage, your clock, your RPM, your speed, your trim, and your fuel gauge, and that is it. On a separate tab, however, Yamaha does provide some very useful fuel statistics, including the fuel rate in gallons per hour, the fuel used in gallons, the average miles per gallon, as well as trip time and trip distance traveled. The display does not really have that many functions or settings, and to me that was a little underwhelming. Now let's take a look at this awesome integrated feature, the GPS maps. While I have not activated this feature on mine, and therefore can't show it to you, if you do purchase the additional map card, it is very cool to be able to navigate using the built-in multifunction display without the need for an external GPS. Instead of relying on a physical immobilizer key like Kawasaki and Sea-Doo, Yamaha utilizes a PIN code to lock and unlock the engine and allow the personal watercraft to be operated. Although the metrics provided and display itself is extremely oversimplified compared to the Kawasaki's display, this is very easy to see, the touchscreen is very responsive, and overall I'm happy with the quality of the display. Some users have reported issues with the touchscreen and the D-pad, although personally I have not experienced any issues with the system so far. Something extremely annoying to me that I kind of thought Yamaha had fixed for the 2025 model year is the persistent and annoying low fuel alarm that's present on the Yamaha FX. When you have about 8 gallons remaining in your tank, this alarm goes off. The annoying thing is that you have to let off the throttle, slow down the ski completely, and then reach up to your display and tap on this alarm icon on the display. Well, when you're out in 6-foot chop with gloves on, getting salt water splashed to the face, turning off this alarm is quite a challenge.
Hey.
The Yamaha's multifunction display also includes smartphone integration that allows you to make and receive calls from the WaveRunner.
Well, that's crazy. You called and it came up on the screen and then I answered it.
Yeah, that's great. That's the way it should work, right?
Now, let's talk about the multifunction display on the Kawasaki Ultra 310. This display is the same size as the Yamaha, coming in at 7 inches, but it's not a touchscreen. Functions on the Kawasaki display are accessed by a mode button on the left handlebar pod and by this jog dial with a back and a select button. And also the jog dial itself is a secondary select button. This may be a little confusing to some since there's so many select buttons. This jog dial is very fast, and the best part is that it's very easy to use even while riding through chop with gloves on. The Ultra 310's display has so many gauge functions, I don't know if I could even list them all here. But it's got RPM, speed, trim level, fuel level, oil temp, engine water temp, intercooler air temp, outside water temp, outside air temp, and something that neither Yamaha or Sea-Doo feature, but boost pressure. Ironically, something that used to be present on the Ultra 310, but that was removed for the 2022 model year, are the fuel consumption statistics. Funny enough, this is the one thing that Yamaha does have. The Kawasaki also features multiple mode displays or themes, allowing you to switch between fully digital and analog gauge clusters. Each is available in black and white and displays all of the gauges that I mentioned previously. The Kawasaki doesn't really have drive modes like the Yamaha, but rather has power modes: SLO or slow learner operation, low power mode, medium power mode, and full power mode. These modes modulate power output and acceleration, but don't affect trim. These can be selected by the mode button on the left handlebar or in the settings. The Kawasaki does allow you to set user-defined trim preset modes, and also allows you to enable launch mode. Launch mode is available in single and repeat functions. The Ultra 310 also features a rear view camera with 3 levels of digital zoom, although it's my opinion that this is more of an electronic gimmick, and in fact, the camera on my Ultra 310 has stopped working and I opted not to replace it because I frankly don't use it. Alright, so here's the summary. The Yamaha FX SVHO features a full-color 7-inch touchscreen display with multiple theming modes. You can access the display via touch or a D-pad control on the right side of the console. The software is very fast, although it only has basic functions and very few actual gauges. It does, however, show fuel usage statistics, which are very important. The Ultra 310 features a full-color TFT 7-inch display with multiple theming modes. It's accessed using a jog dial located just in front of the driver's seat. The software on the Kawasaki is very fast, and it's very easy to scroll through menus at high speed. This gauge cluster has many functions, including boost pressure, which isn't found on any other personal watercraft from the factory. The Ultra 310 also features a rear view camera, which in my opinion is a big gimmick and has been unreliable. Now, let's talk about the seat and the ergonomics of each of these watercraft. Some would say that this is one of the most important things because if you're not comfortable, you're not going to enjoy your time out on the water. Right off the bat, I'm going to tell you that the redesigned seat on the 2022 and up Kawasaki Ultra 310 is by far my favorite seat. Not only is the seat itself constructed out of exceptionally high quality materials, but it also has a narrow taper in the front, which makes stand-up riding extremely comfortable without rubbing or buffering against the inside of your legs. The Ultra 310 also features an adjustable seat, allowing tall guys like me to sit comfortably on the watercraft. With 3 adjustable positions, these adjustable brackets can be purchased for any of the 3 Kawasaki Ultra 310 trims, although they don't come standard on the X or LXS trim. The passenger seat is very high quality as well, except there's one fatal flaw with the seating system on the Ultra 310. In prior model years, the grab handle at the rear of the seat was mounted directly to the watercraft's top deck. Some idiot at Kawasaki decided that it was a good idea to mount this handle to the seat itself. This now means that the rear grab handle is extremely flimsy and not confidence-inspiring in the least. Now, each different trim has a slightly different seat, but speaking generally for all seats for the Ultra 310 and the Yamaha FX, the Kawasaki has much heavier construction. This is due to a higher density, heavier foam and a heavier, thicker plastic base. Unlike the Yamaha models, the Kawasaki Ultra 310 features an integrated strap, giving your passengers something to hold on to. I'm 6'3" and I have really long legs. I like to stretch out during long rides. The Ultra 310 is the only PWC in the industry with an adjustable seat. The fact that the seat can move backwards an additional 3 inches gives you an unprecedented amount of legroom. Besides the flimsy grab handle, the other thing I don't like about the seating system on the Ultra 310 is that the rear seat uses these 2 slats to fit under the main seat. This is what holds the rear seat in place. To me, this isn't really confidence inspiring. Now, let's talk about the seat on the Yamaha FX SVHO. This seat is made from very high quality materials. I really like the texture of the vinyl along the sides, and you can see it's got this really high quality FX logo emblazoned on the seat. When compared to the Ultra 310 seat, however, the fabric feels a lot thinner. You can see here on the main seating surface how much flex there is in the fabric. There's really no foam underneath it to support it, and this fabric actually stretches when you sit. I'm a little concerned about the longevity of the seat and seams because of all this extra slack. While the FX seat does have a moderate taper, in my opinion, this seat is still too wide at the very front. This means that while stand-up riding in the ocean, the seat is rubbing against the inside of your legs. On the Yamaha FX, the passenger grab rail is still mounted to the deck, making it very solid and confidence-inspiring. The materials used on the passenger seat are extremely high quality as well. The passenger seat is held in place with its own set of mounts, rather than relying on the main seat to hold it in place, like on the Kawasaki. So in terms of ergonomics, which ski do I think is more comfortable to ride? Kawasaki was not as focused on weight reduction as Yamaha, and therefore the seat has a thicker density foam. This means that when you're riding in chop or in the ocean, when you're not standing up and need to sit down for a little bit, you don't take as much of a beating on the thick, heavy seat that's on the Kawasaki Ultra 310. Also, interestingly enough, on the Kawasaki, the seating position, even when the seat is back 3 inches, is closer to the handlebars than on the FX. On the FX, you're so far away from the handlebars because of the large glove box between the handlebars and the rider. I have long arms, so I don't particularly hate the ergonomics of it. It's just you don't feel as close to the handlebars and controls as you do with the Kawasaki. Also, the seat on the FX is not as forgiving. It's a lighter density foam, not as thick as the Kawasaki, and you tend to get beat up on the bottom side when attempting to sit down in conditions like you see above. Alright, so here's the summary. The Kawasaki Ultra 310 features an adjustable seat. While the lower trims don't come with this, it can be added inexpensively. The seat on the Ultra 310 has a narrow taper in the front, meaning that stand-up riding is very comfortable. The seat doesn't buffet or rub against the inside of your legs, even when navigating in rough chop. The seats themselves are made from very high-quality premium materials. The stitching is spot on. These seats are very well made. Because of that, they're heavier than the competition. Both the fabric, the foam, and the base are heavier than the seats I've seen on Yamaha and Sea-Doo. The passenger seat on the Kawasaki locks in underneath the main seat, which I don't particularly love. I also don't like that the rear grab handle is mounted to the passenger seat itself and not to the top deck. Now let's talk about the seat on the Yamaha FX SVHO. The seats on the Yamaha are mounted in a fixed position, without the narrow taper found on the Kawasaki Ultra 310. This wider design means that your inner thighs will rub against the vinyl, especially when stand-up riding in the ocean. Compared to the Kawasaki's seat, the Yamaha seat is made of basic materials. Both the vinyl and the foam itself are much thinner than the Kawasaki. The plastic base is also lighter and flimsier. For the passenger, the Yamaha lacks a grab strap present on the Kawasaki, but the rear grab handle on the Yamaha is mounted directly to the deck, meaning that this handle is very confidence-inspiring and very rigid. The passenger seat also locks in to its own little brackets, meaning that it doesn't rely on the main seat to be held in place. Well, I hope you enjoyed part 2 of my ultimate comparison between the Yamaha FX SVHO and the Kawasaki Ultra 310. Stay tuned for part 3, where I cover maintenance, defects and issues, dealership experience, and corporate culture. Part 4 includes ocean handling, my stock speed test, my Stage 1 speed test, and my final thoughts on both machines. Stay tuned only on JD's Waterworld. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe for more exclusive jet ski content, only on JD's Waterworld.